No. Yes. You're not supposed to. You have to hit it hard. It's not like dirty. Oh no.
Was it fun? Was it fun? Huh? Yeah. Oh, now she's cold. Oh, again.
Yeah, I
The way
know.
back is very long.
何の匂いやろ。なんか臭いです。ビデオでは届けませんけど。めっちゃ怖かった下降りるの。
降りたん？
うん。どうやっ
This area. Come on. Please.
To us. Now we are in the core. For tall people, now it's time to take care. This is the most international aspect of IPC. We've never had a term where they didn't try to touch the bridge when you sail under it. Everybody around the world is like that. So, on the right-hand side, a splendid old building from the time of Christian IV. It's been used as a brewery, and now it's empty, but there's a competition, first prize 300,000 kroner, about what to use this building for. So one of you suggests we move IPC to here, and then you win a lot of money. On the left-hand side, you have the old royal stables behind these yellow buildings, and sometimes it smells a bit of nature even here at the very center. The horses were taken from here to the other side, and there's a big yard behind Christiansborg Castle where you can horse ride, and there's a hall indoor for horse riding too. Another houseboat pops up here, and on the left-hand side you have the only folk high school situated here in the center of Copenhagen, Borup Højskole. It's not residential. People live at home and follow classes during the day. It was situated in the beginning of the century by a man called Borup. He was socialist and a left wing. So this is the first example of a person trying to make a folk high school for people, workers from the city, and with a straight left-wing profile also. The right-hand side, Ministry of Education, that's where half the IPC money comes from. And here's another bridge.
Why not?
There's the best job available in this principle of IPC. The back of Christiansborg Castle here on the right, you can see the ornaments up there at the gate with all the royal symbols, including the crown on top. And this bridge is also beautifully decorated. There's a person in.
This is new. Of course.
Here we have what used to be the main entrance to the National Museum. And before it became National Museum, it was the palace for the Crown Prince. So the king lived where now really a really difficult bridge. So if our chauffeur had a beer for lunch, we won't manage it. This is a real test. And now you may think we're heading the wrong direction, but this is part of the plan.
Yeah, and then we go like that. Let them there.
So now On the right-hand side, the House of Parliament. The yellow building is the museum for the sculpture of Bertel Thorvaldsen. Straight ahead, you have the spire of the church Nikolai. And on the left-hand side, you have a number of interesting houses from built after the big fire of 1728.
What do you want to say?
The Ministry of Culture has its offices here on the left-hand side. The guy on the horse is Absalon, formerly the founder of Copenhagen, since he was the man who built the castle, the fort I mentioned in 1169. The square here used to be the financial center of Copenhagen, where all the banks had their headquarters. And you have all the walking street just up here, 100 meters. So maybe some of you have walked here. Here's a terrible lion, but really like a human being. Down here you have a statue at the bottom of the canal. The yellow thing indicates where it is. It's a person from an old fairy tale or medieval ballad, Agnete, who falls in love with a person living underneath the sea, sort of a male mermaid. So they are flirting down there. You can see that on the sculptures.
Let's go back.
Now we are in front of the House of Parliament. Part of the building is fairly old, but it's burned down 3 times, and every time it has been rebuilt more ugly than before. So today it's not really a charming building, but some of the sections in there that is a sort of leftover from earlier versions are quite interesting from an architectural point of view.
Kids better not spit. Sometimes in the train they would like...
There are some tourists, if you want to take a picture of a tourist. It's not built as a church, it was built as a place to make rope and later on to make anchors, and then it was converted into a church where today a lot of official ceremonies take place. The Queen was married here, and sort of important people in the central administration and military often get buried from that church. On your right hand side you have behind, far back, the red building, home of the central administration for centuries, and now the Ministry of Finance has its headquarters there. Next building is the old Royal Exchange. When it was built during the time of Christian IV, you could sail all the way up to the building. So there were shops on the ground floor where the goods were brought on ship, and then on the first floor the merchants had their offices. Today the building is only made by Arne Jacobsen, the architect. Another bridge. So now we are in the harbor. That used to be very busy. Today it's mainly tourists you find here. This is the Danish Foreign Ministry, where we make sure we don't get into war with anybody. And the next houses in line here are old storehouses from the 17th, 18th century, but now they've been changed into a conference center and Christianshavn has a special significance in the history geography of Copenhagen. A number of historical buildings also. The Navy had its headquarters behind us, we'll see that later on. So a lot for old seamen and widows of seamen, it says. And next to it you have the office of a fancy advertising company or architect company or something like that. Many of these old houses are changed and made into very expensive offices. And now ahead of us you have a unique view of the library where we were inside. You can see how it's organized with the light coming in, giving light to the reading rooms situated on both sides. So this is probably the most advanced modern building you will find here in Copenhagen. Okay. It wasn't that interesting. Headquarters of Unibank. The canal that leads up to Kongens Nytorv, the King's New Square, and where you have all these nice colored old houses and all the restaurants. And then you have the four sections of the castle with the equestrian statue, and then you have the marble church behind that again. The buildings on both sides are store buildings that have now been changed into apartments. And now we are moving into a section of Christianshavn. Tear them down. So they were bought by companies for offices, and then they have been totally rebuilt, of course, but still following the old design. There's some in between that where they haven't finished remaking them, the ones that comes up now, so that gives you a better idea how they used to look like. And then, in contrast to all this wealth and richness, on the other
Nice brand, broad mind.
entrance to Holmen, the Navy headquarters, and to the right of the entrance, the old crane used to put the masts on the ship in the time of Christian IV. That crane is again dates back to 1600.
It's coming up, Stania.
And on the left-hand side you have the ferry to Poland, to Gdansk, where many important people come from.
Babu fell here last year.
Yes, I saw the photographs.
So she's looking out into the sea and hoping that, you know,
I think you all know the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale about the mermaid who fell in love with a guy on land, and there wasn't really a happy end to that story. The reason this statue came up here is that there was a ballet made on the basis of the fairy tale towards the end of the 19th century. And Carl Jacobsen, the son of the founder of the Carlsberg breweries, he was very interested in ballet. So he saw that ballet and decided he would donate a statue of the Little Mermaid where one of the ballet dancers were used as a model. And here she sits. What about the lost her head? It's only a couple of years ago. And the guy who found out it was missing one morning was a photographer, and he got some splendid photos of the mermaid with the head missing, and he sold these photos all over the world in 1807, and in spite of our courageous fighting, we lost.
They just killed them afterwards. The first time I watched Titanic, I was with a friend of mine's university.
the Chinese life in the wind and where the aircraft should be. So this is an example.
Don't have a fan.
That's the same movement in Sydney. 3 years ago, they all moved out, and now they're going back.
The